Hello and welcome back for another Torah Tuesday. Today we're in Exodus chapter 4, the first 5 verses, where Moses raises another objection. Moses and Yahweh are having a conversation at the mountain where Moses had seen the burning bush and God commissioned him to go to Egypt and set the people free. And Moses is not so sure about this. And so his third objection is that what happens when people don't believe him, that Yahweh has really sent him. He wants to know if this is going to have some kind of verifiability, if his commission will be recognizable by the Hebrews. And we discover in this interaction that God has already provided what Moses needs to do the job. Moses just needs to see what's right in front of him. So there's a couple of plays on words in this interaction that I want to show you in Hebrew that are really fun. So first, God addresses Moses and says, "What is that in your hand?" Now we've just in chapter 3 had some language about hand. Remember, Pharaoh has a strong hand, and yet a strong hand is going to compel him to let the people go. So in the previous video, we talked about that dynamic, and we also have a strong hand in this scene. So God asks Moses, "What is that in your hand?" And in Hebrew, his question is mazeh, mazeh bayadecha. What is that in your hand? And Moses' response is mateh. He has a staff in his hand. It's his shepherd's staff, the tool of his trade. Moses already has what it will take for him to confront Pharaoh. God tells Moses to take this staff and throw it down. The word throw it down in Hebrew is shallock. Moses is supposed to shallock it. This echoes Pharaoh's order back in chapter 1 for people to throw the Hebrew boys into the river, to shallock them. Now God's telling Moses to shallock his staff, and immediately it turns into a snake, a nachash. It's significant that we have a snake because the snake is the symbol of Pharaoh's royal authority. If you've seen pictures of Pharaoh, he's often pictured with a headdress, and there's a snake on the forehead of his headdress, symbolizing that royal authority. So Moses' staff turns into a snake, and he runs away from it, which is not the first time that Moses has run from Pharaoh. Back in chapter 2, verse 15, Moses flees Pharaoh's wrath and crosses the desert. So the staff turns into a nachash, and Moses responds by vayanas. So it turns la nachash, and he vayanas. So there's a kind of alliteration between these two words. He flees from it. And then God tells him, reach out your hand, stretch out your hand and grab this snake by the tail, which is, of course, not a wise idea to grab a snake by the tail. This is going to be another demonstration of the power of God. So he shalachs his hand. So he had thrown the staff. Now he's supposed to stretch out his hand. And the word for throw and the word for stretch out sound very similar in Hebrew, shalak and shalach. So he shalachs his hand and he grabs the snake, he hazaks it. And if you remember from last week's video, hazak is the word that in adjective form describes the strong hand that will compel Pharaoh to give the people up and let them leave Egypt. So Moses' grabbing of the snake is symbolic of the strong hand of God that will compel Pharaoh to let the Israelites leave Egypt. It's a beautiful story with lots of back and forth wordplay. So Moses starts out afraid and runs from the snake just as he feared and ran from Pharaoh in chapter 2. But the snake, because it represents Pharaoh's authority, is showing Moses that God is going to overcome this fear and overcome Pharaoh's authority. With the help of Yahweh's strong hand, the people will be led out of Egypt. So this sign is for the Hebrews more than it is for the Egyptians. It says, so that they may believe that Yahweh, the God of their fathers, has appeared to you, in verse 5. So this is the sign that Moses will take back with him, and we'll see how it plays out in a future video. But for now, I want you to just see how God takes what Moses already has and equips him to do the work to which God has called him, helping Moses to overcome his fears and confront the enemies of God's people. Have a great week.